I pull into the Home Depot parking lot at 8:14 in the morning with a cracked windshield, half a tank of gas, and a stupid list folded in my shirt pocket. Plywood, door screws, 2 hinges, a bucket of joint compound. Maybe a cheap latch if I can find one. That is all I came for. The radio in my truck keeps cutting between traffic reports and an emergency bulletin that never finishes clean. The announcer says there are closures near County General. Then he says people should avoid the medical district. Then a burst of static eats the rest. I turn it down because I am already irritated from sitting in traffic behind a garbage truck and a line of cars that kept changing lanes for no reason. The parking lot is busier than it should be for a weekday morning. Contractors are here, sure. That part is normal. White vans, pickups with ladders, a plumbing truck with pipe racks. But there are also families. A woman in pajama pants unloading 2 children from a minivan. A man in office clothes pushing an empty flat cart toward the entrance. An older couple standing beside the garden center fence, arguing over the phone with someone I cannot hear. I park near the lumber entrance. Not close. Close spots are already taken, and one of the cart returns has tipped sideways across 2 spaces. Nobody has fixed it. That is the first thing I notice. Not the sirens in the distance, not the helicopter moving low over the strip mall across the road. The cart return bothers me first, because stores fix small things when everything is normal. A tipped cart return means the people inside are busy with something else. I sit there with my hand on the door handle and look toward the front entrance. The automatic doors open and close without rhythm. A man comes out carrying 4 gas cans with the yellow safety caps still clipped to the handles. He drops one, curses at it, and leaves it rolling under the bumper of a parked SUV. He does not go back for it. He keeps moving toward his truck. A woman comes out with 2 cases of bottled water stacked on a dolly. She is crying, but she is not asking for help. She is just moving. I should leave. That is the smart thought. It comes clear and plain. Pull out, go home, board up the back door with whatever scrap wood I already have. Forget the list. Then I think about my garage. I think about the broken side door on my house. The one that does not latch unless I lift it with my knee. I think about the loose basement window and the old fence panel that fell during last week's wind. I think about how everyone else is reacting to the same information and how 1 hour from now there might not be plywood anywhere in town. I get out. The air smells of mulch from the garden center, wet concrete, gasoline, and hot asphalt. A police car flies past on the main road without sirens, moving fast enough to make several people turn their heads. The car does not slow for the red light. It cuts through the intersection and disappears behind the grocery store. Inside the lumber entrance, the store feels wrong immediately. The lights are on. The air conditioning is running. The wide aisles still hold stacks of lumber, drywall, insulation, doors, fencing, ladders, tool cabinets, everything a person could use to repair or build almost anything. But the normal store noise is gone. No casual arguing over paint color. No slow beeping from lifts moving pallets. No bored music from the ceiling speakers. Just carts rattling too fast, people calling names, a child crying near the returns desk, and an employee announcement that starts, stops, and starts again. Attention customers. Due to a local emergency, we ask that all customers proceed calmly to checkout. The store will be closing in 15 minutes. Please proceed calmly to checkout. Nobody proceeds calmly. A man in a ball cap pushes past me with 6 boxes of deck screws in his arms. Another man grabs his shoulder and says something about needing 1 box. The man in the cap shakes him off and keeps going. The second man follows him, one step behind, voice getting louder. I do not go to checkout. I go straight to lumber. I have worked enough renovation jobs to know where things are without reading signs. 1/2-inch plywood, 2x4s, exterior screws, hinges, bolt locks. The aisle already looks picked over, but only by people who do not know what matters. The cheap, thin panels are almost gone. The good exterior sheets are still stacked low, heavy, hard to move without help. People are grabbing what can fit in a sedan. That means useful material is still here. I load 6 sheets onto a flat cart, then 8 2x4s. I am not calm. I am not thinking about the whole city yet. I am thinking in a narrow line from shelf to cart to truck. Move now. Pay later. Get home before roads turn bad. The announcement comes again, but this time a different voice cuts in over it. Female, strained, trying to sound official. Do not exit through the garden center. Customers, do not exit through the garden center. Please use front registers only. A crash comes from somewhere beyond the seasonal displays. Everyone in the lumber aisle stops. It is not one crash. It is metal rattling, glass breaking, people yelling. Then the sharp, rolling bang of something heavy hitting the floor. A man near the plywood stack whispers, "What was that?" Nobody answers him. I leave my cart and walk toward the main racetrack aisle. The store opens up ahead of me, long and bright, with orange beams running over the aisles and high shelves loaded to the ceiling. People are moving in every direction now. Some are still shopping, some are abandoning carts, some are staring toward the garden center where a cluster of customers has backed away from the open gate. A store employee in an orange apron is standing on top of a pallet of soil bags, waving both arms. "Close it!" he shouts. "Close the gate!" The garden center gate is halfway down, stuck on something below. 2 employees are pulling the chain at the side, but the metal roll-up gate keeps jerking and stopping. Outside, beyond the fence, people are running between cars in the side lot. One person hits the chain-link fence with both hands and keeps hitting it, even after the gate starts moving again. At first I think he is trying to get inside. Then I see his face through the fence. He is not calling for help. He is not looking at the employees. He is pressing himself into the fence with no sense of pain or sense at all. Mouth opening and closing, fingers catching in the wire. His shirt is ripped at the shoulder. A dark smear runs down the side of his neck, but I look away before I can process more than that. A woman near the patio furniture screams and drops a plastic planter. The sound sends half the garden center crowd backward. One of the employees loses his grip on the chain. The gate slips down another foot, then jams again. I move before I decide to move. I cross the aisle, step over a spilled bag of fertilizer, and grab the chain below the employee's hand. "Pull steady," I tell him. He looks at me with wide eyes. He is maybe 19. Sweat has already soaked through his orange apron. "It's caught," he says. "Then don't yank it. Pull steady." Another man joins us, thick arms, work boots, no nonsense. Together we haul the chain in a slow rhythm. The gate shakes. Something beneath it scrapes across concrete. Outside, the man at the fence turns toward the sound and slams into the gate with his shoulder. The metal bucks inward. A woman outside runs past him. Then another person tackles her from the side near the mulch pallets. The young employee makes a noise and lets go. The thick-armed man curses and pulls harder. I keep my weight on the chain. The gate drops 6 inches, catches again, then breaks free and slams down so hard the floor vibrates. For 2 seconds, nobody moves. Then someone at the front of the store shouts, "They're coming through the entrance!" That is the moment the store stops being a store. People start running toward the front, then away from the front, then toward the lumber exit. A row of carts crashes into a paint display. A kid in a red hoodie climbs onto a stack of moving boxes to see over everyone. The overhead speakers crackle again, but no message comes out. An employee near appliances tries to tell people to stay back, and nobody listens. I look at the closed garden gate. I look at the main entrance far across the store. I look at the high racks of lumber, the concrete floor, the forklifts, the ladders, the chains, the rolls of wire, the stacked doors, the tool rental desk, the emergency exits, the roof access sign near the back hall. I understand one thing clearly. If I go outside now, I am entering the same panic everyone else is entering. If I stay here, I am inside a building full of supplies and frightened people who will destroy the building from the inside unless someone starts making decisions. I am not special. I am not military. I am not a prepper with a secret plan. I am a 41-year-old man with bad knees, a contractor's eye for weak points, and enough experience with job sites to know that unorganized people around tools can make a safe place dangerous fast. I go back for my cart, not to leave, to build. By the time I drag the loaded flat cart to the lumber entrance, the first fight has started near the contractor checkout. A man in a gray hoodie is trying to push a cart full of generators through the emergency side door. A cashier is standing in front of him with both hands out, yelling that the door alarm will trigger. He shoves the cart into her hip. She falls sideways into a stack of orange buckets. I do not reach him first. A woman in a store vest does. She is short, maybe mid-30s, funnel hair pulled tight behind her head, radio clipped to her shoulder. She steps in front of the man with no weapon, no fear show, just hard authority. "Back up," she says. The man points toward the front entrance. "You heard them. People are getting killed out there." "Then stop opening doors. I paid for this." "No, you didn't." He grabs one generator by the handle. The box tears and the generator drops, cracking the plastic corner. Two other men come up behind him, not clearly with him, but interested in the same door. The woman looks past him at me. "You, contractor, can you move that cart across the door?" I do not ask how she knows I am a contractor. My boots, my tape measure, my truck keys clip to my belt. "Easy." I push the flat cart across the side door, wedging the lumber against the crash bar. The gray hoodie man starts yelling at me now. The woman with the radio raises her voice over his. "My name is Lana. I'm the assistant manager. This door stays shut." "That glass front won't hold," I say. "It's not holding now." That lands hard. She turns and speaks into her radio. "Omar, I need the reach truck at the front. Bring pallets, anything heavy. Paint, tile, concrete, whatever is closest. Do not raise forks near customers." A man's voice crackles back. "People are in the way." "Move them." The gray hoodie man says, "You can't keep us in here." Lana looks at him. "I'm not keeping you in. I'm keeping that out." From the front entrance comes a deep crash. Not glass yet. Metal. The automatic doors have probably been locked or disabled, and people outside are hitting them with carts or bodies or both, so screams overlap in the vestibule. I look at Lana and say, "The lumber door has metal shutters?" Manual roll down behind the pro desk. "Can it close?" "If nobody blocks it." "Then close it now." She stares at me for half a second, then points to an employee behind the register. "Do it. Now." The employee hesitates. "What about customers outside?" Lana does not soften. "Close it." The employee runs to the chain, 3 customers rush toward the lumber exit when the shutter starts moving. One has a cart stacked with power tools. One has nothing. One is carrying a toddler. The first 2 duck under before the shutter drops too low. The woman with the toddler stops at the line and looks back into the store, then toward the parking lot. A scream outside cuts through the metal rattle. She steps back inside. The shutter comes down. That choice stays with me. Not because it is heroic. It is not. It is practical, immediate, and ugly. She has a child in her arms and 2 directions. She chooses the one with a closed door. I help Lana drag 2 pallets of concrete mix from the end cap and line them against the shutter. The bags are 80 pounds each. Nobody wants to lift them until Lana starts handing them out and calling people by description instead of name. You in the red shirt, stack them flat. Sir, yes, you. If you want that door closed, use your hands. Ma'am, keep the kid away from the pallet jack. People move when instructions are specific. I have seen it on job sites. Panic fills empty space. Orders fill it too, if the orders make sense. The front entrance fails at 8:39. The sound is not a movie sound. It is one panel of glass popping inward, shuchu, then another crack, then a metal frame twisting under pressure. The store erupts in shouts. People push away from the registers. Carts turn sideways. Someone trips near the seasonal aisle and 3 others step over him without looking down. I cannot see the entrance from where I stand, but I hear the change when the outside gets inside. The yelling becomes closer, sharper, full of individual voices. A man screams, "Shut it! Shut it!" over and over until his voice breaks. Then the reach truck horn starts beeping. Omar appears from behind a stack of doors, driving a yellow reach truck with a pallet of tile balanced low. He is older than I expected. Lean, gray beard, orange apron hanging open. He moves carefully, not fast, but every turn is clean. A crowd surges away from the entrance and nearly blocks him. "Move!" Lana shouts. "Move away from the machine." Omar does not stop. He cannot. If he stops, people will fill the lane and the entrance stays open. I grab a flat cart and shove it sideways into the crowd line, not into people, just enough to create a boundary. "This way," I shout. "Back aisle. Move down the back aisle. Do not run into the forks." A man curses at me. A woman grabs his sleeve and pulls him along. Omar drops the pallet in front of the broken entrance and backs up. The tile stack does not cover the whole opening. It covers enough to slow whatever tries to come through. 2 infected people are already inside the vestibule, pressing against a cluster of carts. I see enough. Pale faces, jerky movement, hands grabbing with no hesitation, no words. One security guard swings a fire extinguisher and knocks one down. The other crawls over the carts, still coming. Lana picks up a shovel from a display rack. I grab a sledgehammer because it is closest. We do not charge. Nobody should charge. That is how people get pulled down. We back up, force space, use carts as distance. The security guard slams the extinguisher down again and again, not with rage, but with the blank focus of a man who has no other tool. Omar lowers another pallet, this one stacked with concrete board. The infected woman in the vestibule gets pinned behind the carts and the pallet. Her hands keep reaching through a gap. The gray hoodie man from the side door vomits behind a display of work gloves. That actually helps. People see him break, and the fight leaves some of them. The store stops arguing for a few minutes and watches the entrance get buried under weight. Tile, in concrete board, bagged mortar, a row of tool chests, 2 stacks of patio pavers, and 3 flat carts chained together. It is not a fortress. It is a delay. Lana knows it. I know it. Omar knows it. The crowd does not. The crowd sees a blocked entrance and starts talking again. Too many voices. Too many plans. Call the police. Leave through receiving. Go to the roof. Take generators. Use chainsaws. Find guns. Use nail guns. Open the fire exit. Stay together. Split up. Find food. Find family. I look at Lana. How many exits? She answers fast. Front, lumber, garden, receiving, 4 emergency doors, roof hatch through the back hall, maybe old mezzanine ladder above millwork, office stairs, break room hall. How many employees? Started with 22. I can see 9. How many customers? She looks at the store. There are too many. Maybe 60, maybe 80. People keep appearing from aisles, restrooms, appliances, flooring, paint. Some are hiding, some are stealing, some still think possession matters. I say, you need zones, people away from doors, nobody alone near exits, tools collected, fuel separated, quiet rules. Lana gives me a tired look. You sound very ready to tell me how to run my store. I'm ready to not die in it. She looks toward the front barricade, where the pinned infected still pushes at the carts without understanding the barrier. Then she looks back at me. What's your name? Nolan. All right, Nolan. Start with lumber. Make me a wall I can understand. We build the first real barricade at the lumber entrance from things meant for houses that no one is going to finish now. That thought keeps landing in small pieces while I work. The sheets of plywood on my cart were supposed to fix my own door. The 2x4s were supposed to frame a storage wall in my garage. Now I am screwing them into a brace against a roll-up shutter, while a woman I met 20 minutes ago directs strangers with a store radio. We do not build pretty. Pretty wastes time. We build heavy and ugly. 2x4s cut short with a cordless circular saw from the tool aisle. Plywood plates screwed across the cart frames. Concrete bags stacked behind the wheels so the cart line cannot roll backward. Chains through handles. Padlocks from aisle 16. A diagonal brace jammed between a pallet of drywall and a steel rack upright. Every cut makes noise. Every screw gun whines. The store carries sound badly, bouncing it under the high roof and down open aisles. After 10 minutes, Lana tells us to stop using saws unless necessary. We switch to whole pieces, wedges, clamps, straps, and weight. A man named Dennis argues with that decision for 5 minutes. He is a contractor, or says he is. He has a pencil behind his ear and clean boots. He keeps saying he can frame proper walls if people stay out of his way. I tell him, framed walls need anchors. Anchors need drilling. Drilling makes noise and takes time. He says, this mess won't hold. I say, nothing here holds forever. Pick a job. He stares at me, offended by the absence of debate. Then Omar hands him a box of lag screws and points at the garden center gate. Reinforce that, Omar says. You want proper, make that proper. Dennis goes. That becomes the first rule without anyone announcing it. Complaints become jobs. A woman complains there is no place to sit. Lana sends her to patio furniture and tells her to set up a rest area away from the doors. A man complains children are crying. Lana tells him to bring moving blankets from the packing aisle and make a corner near flooring. Someone complains there is no water. I tell him to collect buckets, trash cans, coolers, storage totes, and every clean container he can find. The store begins turning into something else. The paint desk becomes the command spot because it has a counter, visibility, and phones that still have deadlines, but look official enough to calm people. The flooring aisle becomes the sleeping area, not because it is comfortable, but because carpet rolls and padding can be moved into lanes. The break room becomes medical after a woman named Priya says she is an urgent care nurse. She does not ask permission. She points at 2 employees and says, "I need gloves, first aid kits, bottled water, paper towels, and any clean tarps." Lana backs her without question. Tool rental becomes storage for fuel and anything dangerous. Chainsaws, propane torches, solvents, gas cans, generators, kerosene, sharp blades. We do not lock everything away because locks are only useful when key holders stay alive. But we move it behind one service counter and put 2 people there at all times. Food is the first bad truth. Home improvement stores have everything except enough food. There are candy bars near registers, soda coolers, employee lunches in the break room fridge, a few bags of chips, maybe protein bars in someone's cart. Nothing more. People do not want to hear that. A building full of supplies creates a false feeling that all needs are covered. The store has toilets, but if water pressure fails, the toilets become a problem. It has generators, but generators need fuel and make noise. It has roof area, but roof access does not feed anyone. It has lumber, but lumber does not stop thirst. At 10:05, the tap water still works. At 10:06, I stop a man from washing his hands for the 3rd time and tell him to fill buckets instead. He looks at me as if I slapped him. "That's disgusting," he says. "Empty buckets are worse." He looks at the sink, then at me, then reaches under the counter for another 5-gallon bucket. We fill everything. Buckets, storage totes, trash cans lined with contractor bags, clean paint pails, coolers from outdoor living, mop buckets, even plastic storage drawers after we remove the drawers and wash them fast. Not all of it is drinking water, and Priya says that again and again. Drinking water gets marked with blue tape. Wash water gets marked with black marker. Flush water goes into the restrooms and stays there until needed. A man tries to take 3 cases of bottled water to his family corner. Lana stops him. "No private stockpiles," she says. "My kids need water." Everyone does. "I got it first." "You got it from my store." He steps closer to her. Omar steps closer to him. No weapon, no threat, just presence. The man looks from Lana to Omar to me, then down at the cases. His wife comes over and says, "Ray, stop." That saves him more than anyone else. He lets go. His wife takes 1 case to the water area and does not look at him. By late morning, we have maybe 52 people confirmed inside. We start a list on the back of a delivery receipt roll. First name, useful skill, medical issue, family count. People lie at first. Everyone is a mechanic. Everyone knows electrical. Everyone can run equipment. Then Omar asks 2 forklift drivers, which pedal controls inching on the reach truck, and both men go quiet. After that, the list gets more honest. Lana is assistant manager. Omar runs receiving and equipment. Priya is medical. I am construction by default. A retired electrician named Walter knows enough to safely wire temporary loads if we need them. A school custodian named Grace knows cleaning, maintenance, and how to get people to stop making messes without turning it into a personal argument. A woman named Elena works at the customer service desk and knows the store systems. The key cabinet, the roof hatch, and which office has an actual door. Then there is Wes. Wes arrives from the parking lot after we think all doors are shut. He comes through receiving, not through a door, through a dock gap. The receiving bay has 2 roll-up doors. Both are down, but one trailer is still back to the dock outside, and the dock plate was left down when everything started. Behind the trailer, someone has pulled the truck forward just enough to create a space. Wes crawls through that space and rolls onto the receiving floor with blood on his sleeve and a backpack across his chest. 2 employees nearly hit him with pipe wrenches before he screams, "I'm not sick! I'm not sick!" I get there with Omar and Lana. Wes is maybe 25, thin, shaking, wearing a delivery uniform from an appliance company. He says there are people in the side lot, a lot of them, moving between cars and hitting windows. He says the main road is blocked by a bus and 2 police cars. He says he saw a paramedic get pulled down near the tire shop. He says the hospital is closed. He says the news app on his phone says residents should shelter in place. But the map keeps changing and half the alerts vanish after loading. He keeps talking until Priya kneels beside him and says, "Were you bitten?" "No." "Scratched?" "No." "What happened to your sleeve?" "Fence." "Show me." He does not want to. That tells everyone too much. Priya says it again, calm. "Show me." He rolls up his sleeve. There is a long scrape across his forearm, shallow, dirty, not a bite. Priya studies it under the receiving light while everyone watches. She cleans it, covers it, and tells Lana, not conclusive, but it looks mechanical. Wes hears the word conclusive and starts crying with no sound. A man behind me says, "We can't let people crawl in." He is right. That is the ugly part. He is right, but he says it while looking at Wes on the floor, which makes it cruel. Lana turns to Omar. "Seal it." Omar nods. Wes says, "Wait, my brother is out there." The receiving area goes quiet. Lana's face changes, not soft, not cold. "Working." "Where?" "In the truck. He was driving. He pulled forward when they hit the back." "Is he injured?" "I don't know." "Is he trapped?" "I don't know." Omar looks at the dock gap. So do I. Outside, something hits the trailer wall with a hollow boom. Once, then again. Wes crawls toward the gap. I catch his backpack and hold him. He twists hard and tries to swing at me, but there is no power behind it. He is too tired, too scared, too focused on the person outside. "Let me go," he says. "I can't. My brother is out there." "I know." "You don't know anything." That is true, so I do not answer. The trailer rocks again. A scraping sound moves along the metal side. The gap is barely large enough for a person to crawl through. If we leave it open, infected can eventually work through by accident or pressure. If we close it, Wes loses the last possible opening to his brother. This is where people think survival comes with clean decisions. It does not. Survival is one bad option, one worse option, and a clock. Lana gives the order. "Close it!" Wes fights until Omar wraps both arms around him and pins him without hurting him. I pull the dock plate up. Walter and Dennis slide a pallet jack under it to hold it. We stack concrete bags and appliance boxes across the gap. Omar uses chain through the dock rail and locks it to a steel upright. Outside, a man's voice calls once, not a scream, a name. "Wes!" Wes goes still. The voice does not come again. Nobody talks for a long time after that. By noon, the store has 3 problems that cannot be fixed with plywood. People want to leave. People want to bring others in. People want to own things. Each problem has a reasonable story behind it. A mother wants to get to her daughter at school. An older man wants to reach his wife, who is alone with oxygen tanks. A young guy wants to grab tools and make it back to his apartment before looters hit the neighborhood. A store employee wants to open the side door for his girlfriend, who keeps calling from the grocery store until the call drops. Ray wants his water. Dennis wants authority over construction because he cannot stand watching fast work replace proper work. Wes wants the receiving door opened every 10 minutes, then every 5. Lana holds the center for a while. She is good, but she is still one woman with a store radio and no official power after the registers stop mattering. People listen until her orders cost something personal. Then the questions begin. Who put you in charge? Why does he get to decide? Why are tools locked up? Why can't we use the generators? What if the police come and need to get inside? What if the police are dead? What if people outside are still normal? At 12:20, a man named Carl tries to open an emergency exit near plumbing. He does not announce it. He does not ask. He walks down the aisle with a crowbar hidden along his leg and wedges it into the crash bar cover. Grace sees him from cleaning supplies and calls for Omar. I arrive before Omar. Carl is already prying at the door alarm housing. "What are you doing?" I ask. He turns, angry that he got caught, not ashamed. "Leaving." "Not through that. My car is on this side. Your car is not safer than this building. You don't know that. I know opening that door brings noise and daylight. I know anything outside sees it. I know everyone near this aisle pays for your decision." He raises the crowbar slightly. Not quite a threat. Almost. "You think you can stop me?" "No. But I can make you do it in front of everybody." I raise my voice. "Lana." That is enough to pull people from nearby aisles. Carl hates that. Private bad decisions are easier than public ones. Lana comes fast, with Omar behind her and Walter carrying a coil of chain. Carl says, "I have a right to leave." Lana says, "You do. You can leave through a planned exit when we decide it is safer." "When you decide?" "Yes." "And if I don't accept that?" Lana does not answer immediately. She looks at the crowbar in his hand. "Then you become a door problem," she says. That sentence changes the room. Nobody wants to be classified that way. Not a person, a problem. Carl lowers the crowbar. Lana steps closer. "I'm not your boss anymore. I know that. The cash registers are done. The store is done. But this building has doors, and doors decide who lives in here. If anyone opens one alone, that person is putting every child, every injured person, every employee, and every stranger in this building at risk. So here is the rule. Doors require 4 people, clear purpose and warning. Emergency exits stay blocked unless fire forces them open. Anyone trying to open one alone gets moved away from all tools and watched." Carl says, "Watched by who?" Grace raises her hand. "Me." A few people laugh once, nervous and short. Grace does not smile. She is in her 50s, broad-shouldered, wearing a blue cleaning company shirt under an old denim jacket. She has a mop handle in one hand and a roll of duct tape clipped to her belt. Nobody laughs again. Carl hands over the crowbar, not to Lana, to Grace. That matters more than it should. We start assigning watches after that. Not guards. Guards sound hostile. Watches sound useful. 2 people per door area. No one watches alone. No one watches with family only. Each watch has a radio if available or a whistle from the safety aisle. We use colored tape on the floor. Red for restricted door lanes, blue for water, yellow for sleeping. Black X marks for blocked aisles that cannot support foot traffic after we stack materials. The store becomes a map. Garden center gate. Reinforced with lumber, chain, soil pallets, and patio blocks. Watch Team 1. Front entrance. Blocked with tile, carts, tool chests, and rolling shutters half lowered behind broken glass. Watch Team 2, positioned back, never near the gap. Lumber entrance, shutter down, cart brace, concrete bags, lumber frame. Watch Team 3, receiving, sealed dock, overhead doors chained, Trailer gap blocked. No access except Omar and one assistant. Watch Team 4. Emergency exits, chained from inside where safe. Blocked with stackable goods, but not buried so deep that fire traps us. That part causes argument. I insist. Lana backs me. A barricade that cannot be opened in a fire is not protection. It is a coffin with shelves. At 1 o'clock, the power flickers. Every conversation stops. The store lights dim, brighten, dim again. A few battery displays start chirping. The automatic systems click somewhere in the ceiling. Then the lights stabilize. Nobody cheers. Wes says from receiving, "That's how it starts." Nobody tells him to shut up. By 1:30, phones barely work. Texts go through in bursts. Calls fail. News sites load old headlines. Emergency alerts repeat without details. The outside sirens come and go until sirens become part of the air, then thin out. At 2:15, the first organized group comes to the front entrance. We hear the trucks before we see them. Engines, brakes, doors, men yelling to one another. Not infected movement, human movement, directed, fast. I'm at the front barricade with Omar and a young employee named Tyler. We are standing behind the tool chest line, about 20 feet from the broken vestibule. Through gaps in the stacked carts and tile pallets, I can see the parking lot in slices. 3 pickup trucks have pulled near the entrance. One has a landscaping logo. One is lifted too high and covered in stickers. One has a cracked rear window taped over with plastic. 6 or 7 men get out, maybe more. One has a shotgun. Another carries bolt cutters. One has a fire axe from somewhere else. Tyler whispers, "Oh no." Omar says, "Go get Lana." Tyler runs, and the men outside shout toward the entrance, "Open up!" Nobody answers. "We know you're in there." Omar raises his voice but stays behind cover. "Store's closed." The answer is instant. "Open the door, old man. We need supplies." Omar looks at me. I shake my head. One of the men steps onto the broken glass and looks through the cart gaps. He sees us. He smiles. Not friendly. Not crazy either. That is worse. Crazy can be unpredictable. This man is doing math. "There are people in there," he calls back to his group. "They got it locked down." The man with the shotgun says, "We don't want trouble." That is a sentence people use when trouble is already in hand. Lana arrives with Grace and Walter. Priya stays back with the kids and injured. Lana does not come close to the barricade. Smart. A visible leader becomes a target. She speaks from behind a stack of pavers. "We have children and injured people inside. We cannot open the store." Shotgun man laughs once. "Lady, every place has children now. We can pass out some water and basic supplies from a safe distance later if the area clears." "No. We're coming in." "No." The man with bolt cutters moves toward the garden's center side, probably looking for chain or a gate. I tap Omar's arm and point. He nods and radios the garden watch. Lana keeps talking, not to convince the men outside, but to slow them. "We are not a warehouse for looting. We are sheltering in place." Shotgun man says, "You think we're looters?" "Yes." No pause, no apology. It is almost beautiful. He fires into the front barricade. The sound inside the store is enormous, not graphic, just violent, final, stupid. People scream from the back aisles. A child starts crying. Pellets hit metal, wood, and tile. Nothing gets through to us, but several gaps widen. The pinned infected behind the carts starts thrashing harder at the sound. That is when the men outside realize what noise does. From the far side of the parking lot, infected turn toward the entrance. Not a few. More than the men expected. People who had been wandering between cars, drawn by engines, now shift toward the gunshot. The shotgun man sees them. His group sees them. One man yells, "Get back in the trucks!" The man with the bolt cutters is too far from the trucks. He runs across the front lane. 2 infected follow, then 4, then several more from behind the cart corral. He swings the bolt cutters once and keeps running. His own truck begins backing up before he reaches it. Lana looks away. I do not. Not because I want to see, because I need to learn. Noise draws them fast. Not running, not all of them, but focused. The parking lot was scattered danger before the shot. Now it is a direction. The trucks leave one man behind. That fact enters the store without a word. People heard the gun. People heard the engines flee. People hear the man outside screaming for his friends, then screaming at the locked entrance, then screaming at whatever reaches him. The screaming stops after a while. Nobody asks to open the front door for the next 3 hours. Rain starts at 4:10. It comes hard and sudden, hitting the roof with a steady roar that covers small sounds, but makes the store feel sealed away from the world. Water runs down the broken front glass and gathers in the vestibule. The garden center smells of soil and wet mulch. A leak appears over aisle 23, dripping onto a display of light fixtures. A normal store would put out a yellow, wet floor sign. Grace puts a storage tote under it and says, "Roof collection, point 1." That is the kind of person Grace is. The rain gives us our next job. Water from the roof. A Home Depot-style store has a huge roof, but getting clean water off it is harder than people think. Roofs are dirty. Drains carry grit, leaves, bird mess, roofing material, and whatever the air leaves behind. But water for washing and flushing matters too, and if we can filter and boil some later, it might buy time. The roof hatch is in the back hall behind a door marked Employees Only. Lana has keys. The stairs are narrow and smell of dust. I go up with Omar, Walter, and Elena. We carry 2 flashlights, a pry bar, rope, duct tape, a pair of radios, and one of those bright orange safety flags from the lumber loading area. The hatch opens into gray rain and wind. We do not climb fully onto the roof at first. We look. The roof is flat, wide, full of vents, heating units, drain bowls, low parapet walls, and puddles already spreading across the black surface. From up there, the town looks worse than it sounded. Smoke rises in 3 places. The grocery store lot across the road is packed with cars at wrong angles. A line of people moves along the side of the pharmacy, but the line breaks apart while we watch. Farther down, at the intersection, a city bus sits across 2 lanes with its doors open. I do not see police moving. I do not see ambulances. I see birds lifting from power lines every time a loud noise hits somewhere beyond the shopping center. Omar wipes rain from his face and points toward the back of the roof. Drain scuppers on that side. Could run hose from downspout into containers. Walter says, "If downspouts aren't blocked." Elena crouches near the hatch and looks pale. My sister works at the school. Nobody answers too fast. There is no good answer on the roof. I say, "We get water first. Then we look for a way to check the school without opening the building." She turns toward me. "How?" "I don't know yet." That is honest, and it hurts her less than false comfort. We spend 20 minutes in the rain finding roof drains and downspout paths. One drain runs down near receiving, another dumps at the garden center side, outside the fence. A third connects near the front and is useless unless we want to work behind the broken entrance. We mark 2 possible collection points and get back inside before the roof turns slick enough to punish us. Downstairs, the store has shifted again. The rain quieted some people, but it also brought cold. Wet clothes from anyone near doors. Drips, damp concrete. The air conditioning is still on, and now everyone complains. Lana cannot control the building system without the office panel, and the office panel needs power and someone who knows the codes. Elena knows enough to shut down parts of it. That becomes another job. We set water collection from inside where possible. At receiving, the downspout runs just outside a wall near the sealed dock. We cannot open the dock, but we can cut into a section of interior pipe if Walter is willing. He is willing after he studies it for 10 minutes and decides it is not electrical conduit, not gas, and not part of the sprinkler system. We cut with a handsaw to reduce noise. It takes forever. Water spills down the wall before we get a hose clamped on. The first runoff goes into gray-marked trash cans for flushing only. Later runoff goes through layers of cloth, sand, charcoal from grilling supplies, and clean buckets. Priya still calls it non-drinking until boiled. Nobody argues with Priya anymore. At 5:30, the toilets still flush. At 6:05, water pressure drops. At 6:18, the sinks cough air. People take it personally, as if the building betrayed them. Grace moves fast before the bathrooms become a disaster. She puts signs on each restroom door in black marker. Do not flush without bucket water. Keep lids closed. Report clogs. Shut no trash in toilets. A teenage boy laughs at the signs. Grace hands him gloves and says, "You're on restroom duty until dinner." "There's dinner?" "No. That's why you should have stayed quiet." He takes the gloves. "There is no dinner. Not really." At 7 o'clock, Lana brings everyone to the wide aisle near flooring, far from doors, and stands on an overturned bucket. She tells the truth. We have limited food. We have water for now if everyone follows rules. We have shelter, tools, and materials. We do not have rescue. We do not know when rescue comes. We do not open doors for individuals. We do not fire guns. We do not run generators unless necessary. We do not hoard. Anyone who wants to leave can join a planned group in the morning if conditions allow. No one leaves alone through a side door. A man near appliances says, "You can't stop us." Lana says, "No, the outside can." Silence after that. Ray's wife, whose name is Diane, speaks up. She is holding the toddler from earlier now because the toddler's mother is lying down in medical with a fever unrelated to bites, according to Priya. Diane says, "What about kids eating?" Lana looks at the food table. Candy bars, chips, crackers from employee lockers, vending machine snacks, a few lunches, 2 apples, 1 bruised banana, gum, soda, coffee creamer, nothing that should feed 50 people. "Kids first," Lana says. "Medical next, then everyone else small portions." Ray looks ashamed. Good. Shame can be useful if it arrives before damage. We eat in shifts. I get half a granola bar, 3 warm sips of soda, and 1 piece of hard candy someone found in a purse. It is not enough, but enough is gone now. Night comes before the lights go out. The power fails at 8:44. The store does not go black all at once. First, the overhead lights cut. Emergency lights kick on along the main aisles, dim and yellow. Battery displays beep. Some people cry out. Someone drops a tool near hardware, and the metal sound makes every watch whistle answer at once. Then the emergency lights settle. The store is not dark. It is worse than dark. It is half visible. High racks become tall shadows. Aisle signs hang above us with dead numbers. The front barricade is a shape. The garden center glass reflects faint movement from outside. Rain keeps hitting the roof. steady, loud enough to hide small mistakes. Walter wants to connect a generator. I say no before Lana can. He looks offended. We need lights. We need quiet more. Battery lights won't last. Generators tell every person an infected thing outside where power is. Walter points upward. Rain covers sound. Not enough. He looks to Lana. She looks at Omar. Omar says, use small battery work lights first. 1 per zone. Shielded. No beams toward glass. Walter mutters, but he follows the plan. He is not a fool. He just wants control over something he understands. By 10 o'clock, we have battery work lights clipped low behind displays. The store becomes small pockets of human space surrounded by dark aisles. We move in pairs. Nobody walks without a flashlight, and nobody shines one toward exterior glass. Children sleep on carpet padding under moving blankets. Adults sit with backs against shelves. Tools nearby but not in hand unless on watch. The tool rule matters. A hammer in every hand makes every argument dangerous. I take the midnight watch at the garden center with Grace. The garden center is colder than the main store. The gate is down, reinforced, but the fencing above, parts of it remains visible. Rain blows through gaps near the top. Outside, the patio furniture displays are overturned, and plant racks sit in dark rows. Beyond the fence, cars glisten under parking lot lights that still work from some separate line. Infected move between them. Not many at once. Enough. Some stand still until sound pulls them. Some drift against car doors and stop there, pressing hands on glass. One keeps walking into a parked truck, backing up half a step, then walking forward again. There is no plan in it. That does not make it harmless. It makes it patient in a way no living person would choose. Grace sits on a stack of pavers with her mop handle across her knees. You married? She asks. No. Kids? No. Good. I look at her. She keeps watching the fence. Less to lose outside. That is not comforting. It is accurate. I say, you? 2 sons, grown. 1 in Denver, 1 in jail. I do not know what to say to that. She says, jail might be safer tonight, depending who runs it. We sit in the rain noise for a while. Then a hand reaches through the fence at the far corner. Grace lifts her whistle but does not blow. Good. No need. 1 infected has found the fence. It grips the wire, pulls, releases, grips again. The fence holds. The garden gate holds. The barricade behind it holds. For now. The infected man outside wears a delivery shirt from a pizza place. His name tag catches a little parking lot light. I cannot read the name. I am glad. Grace whispers, that one new? Yes. Means more are drifting in. Yes. Morning exit group is stupid. Yes. She nods, satisfied that I am not pretending otherwise. At 12:47, a sound comes from inside the store. Not from a door, from the ceiling. We hear it again above aisle 31, a scrape, then a thump, then a slow, dragging sound across metal roof decking. Grace and I leave the garden watch only after another pair replaces us. We move low through the dark store, following flashlight signals. Lana is already at paint with Omar and Walter. People are waking. Priya is trying to keep medical quiet. The sound comes again, directly above the appliance displays. Walter whispers, HVAC unit maybe. No, Omar says. That's movement. Elena appears from the office hall, face drawn in the battery light. There's a roof access ladder outside near the back, service ladder. It has a cage. It should be locked. Should be? Lana asks. Elena nods once. Should be. The scrape moves again. Everyone looks up. This is what abundance hides. The store has a roof, yes. It also has roof access points, vents, skylights, service ladders, weak utility panels, loading docks, gaps nobody notices until something uses one. I say, human or infected? Nobody answers. Then a voice from above shouts through the roof, muffled by rain and metal. Help! Please! The store changes in one breath. People stand. Someone says, "There's someone up there." Someone else says, "Why, don't open anything." Wes starts toward the back hall. Omar blocks him. Lana looks at me. I can see the decision forming and the cost behind it. If a living person is on the roof, leaving him outside is hard. If an infected person is on the roof, opening the hatch is stupid. If a group is on the roof, that is another front. If the person is bait, worse. The voice comes again. "Please, I'm stuck up here." Male, young, terrified, words clear. Priya says, "Ask if he is hurt." Lana steps toward the back hall but does not enter. "Everyone stay away from roof access." She points at me, Omar, Walter, and Grace. "You four." We take the stairs to the hatch. No one speaks. Rain hammers above. The voice is louder near the top. "Hello, please, I can hear you." Lana stays at the bottom with the radio. She is not coming up. Good. Leaders should not all stand under one hatch. I climb the last steps and stop below the metal cover. "Who are you?" "Jared. I work at the phone store. I climbed up from the back plaza. They were in the alley." "Are you bitten?" "No." "Scratched?" "No, I fell. My legs hurt, that's it." "Are you alone?" "Yes." Grace, below me, says, "He answered too fast." I call up, "Move away from the hatch." "I can't, my leg." "Move away or it stays shut." We hear dragging, then a groan, then a thump several feet away. I crack the hatch 2 inches with the pry bar, chain still looped through the inside handle so it cannot fly open. Rain sprays in. My flashlight cuts across the roof surface. A young man lies on his side about 8 feet from the hatch. Hoodie soaked, jeans ripped at one knee, face wet. I see no one else behind him. But the roof is full of units and blind spots. He raises one hand. "Please," he says. "Please." I scan left, right, vents, unit shadows. Nothing moving nearby. Omar says, "We can pull him in fast?" Walter says, "And if he's lying?" Grace says, "Then we handle one instead of guessing all night." That is true. We open the hatch wide enough. Omar and I climb out, staying low. The roof is slick. Jared reaches for us. I tell him to keep his hands visible. He does. We drag him to the hatch. He bites down on his sleeve to keep from yelling when his injured leg shifts. That is a good sign, maybe. Infected do not hide pain. Not from what I have seen. We get him through the hatch and down the stairs. Priya meets us at the bottom with gloves, light, and a face that tells everyone to back away. Jared has a sprained or broken ankle, bruises, and a cut on his palm from roofing gravel. No bite. No obvious scratch from infected. He says he got onto the roof from the service ladder behind the row of stores after infected filled the service alley. He says the ladder cage lock was already broken. He says he saw at least 10 people on the grocery store roof and 2 on the pharmacy roof. He says some of them saw our roof hatch open. That is the part that matters. Not him. The others. At 1:30 in the morning, people begin knocking on the roof. Not infected. People. They find the hatch first, then the vents, then one of the skylights above flooring. The skylight is thick plastic, not meant for entry, but not meant for desperate people with tools either. Voices call down through rain. "We know you're in there. Open up. There's kids out here. Please. Please." Man! The children inside wake. The adults inside look at Lana. She does not answer from below the skylight. Smart. She sends Omar and me up with a radio and keeps everyone else clear of the floor under it. On the roof, we do not open the hatch. We speak through it. Lana's voice comes through my radio. No roof entry tonight. Tell them to move away from skylights. We can assess at daylight. I repeat it through the hatch. A woman outside screams, "We'll die by daylight." I close my eyes for 1 second. Omar says quietly, "Keep talking." I say, "How many people?" Several voices answer at once. Useless. I raise my voice. One person answers, "How many?" A man says, 9, maybe 11. We got separated. Any bites? No. Someone else says, "No bites." Too fast again. Always too fast. Any injuries? A pause. The man says, "Some." What kind? Falls. Cuts. One old man can't walk good. Lana's voice comes through the radio. "Do not open." I do not. The roof voices keep pleading, then bargaining, then insulting, then pleading again. That cycle tells me more than the words. Fear looking for a door. Around 2 o'clock, something slams against the skylight overflooring. Inside, people shout and scatter. Omar curses and runs down the stairs. I stay at the hatch, listening. Another slam. Not hands. A tool. Maybe a pipe. Lana orders everyone away from skylights. Walter and Dennis drag carpet rolls under the first skylight to cushion broken pieces if it fails. We do not stand directly below. We move display racks, stack doors flat, and brace ladders across the floor so anyone dropping in lands badly and away from sleeping people. That sounds cruel until I write it out in my head. Then it still sounds cruel. But roof people breaking in uncontrolled could injure children, open panic routes, and bring infection status nobody can check. A safe shelter cannot survive unlimited emergency. At 2:22, the skylight cracks. At 2:24, gunfire erupts somewhere outside, not from the roof, from the parking lot or grocery side. The roof voices scatter. Footsteps pound away. One person slips and screams. The skylight stops taking hits. Inside, nobody sleeps after that. Dawn comes gray and wet. The rain has slowed to a thin drizzle. The store smells of damp clothes, plastic packaging, concrete dust, and restroom buckets. People look older than yesterday. That is not poetic. Faces change when sleep gets cut out and plans shrink to the next hour. We do a head count at 6:30. 54 inside, including Jared from the roof. One woman with a fever but no exposure signs. 2 minor injuries from the front entrance panic. Wes with the scraped arm. 3 children under 10. 1 baby. 11 store employees. The rest customers, contractors, people who made a bad shopping decision and lived long enough for it to become shelter. The roof group is gone. Not all gone. From the hatch, Omar and I see 2 bodies on the roof near the far HVAC units. They are not moving. We do not approach. On the pharmacy roof, 4 people wave towels. On the grocery roof, more people sit under a blue tarp. None are close enough to help without opening ourselves to a chain of rescues we cannot finish. Lana says, "We need a plan for food." Everyone already knows. Hearing it makes it official. The store has no meaningful food. Nearby stores do. Grocery across the road, pet store next to it, pharmacy, dollar store, a burger place. But the parking lot between us is full of infected and abandoned cars. Daylight reveals numbers that night hid. Maybe 30 in the lot, maybe more behind vehicles. Some move slow. Some respond fast when a sound hits. None leave the area for long because noise keeps cycling from one trapped place to another. A car alarm near the grocery store chirps every few minutes, weak but enough. Someone on the grocery roof bangs pipes sometimes, maybe to draw infected away from a door, maybe in panic. A supply run is obvious. A supply run is also how people die. The argument starts before breakfast, which is a word we stop using. We ration snacks again. Children get more, adults get little. Coffee grounds exist, but hot water is not worth fuel yet. That decision almost causes a rebellion among 3 regular coffee drinkers. Grace solves it by giving them dry instant packets from the break room and saying, "Wenina, chew slow." No one laughs. Then one of them laughs anyway. It helps a little. We plan the first outside move for 9 o'clock. Not to the grocery store. That is too far, too exposed, and too obvious. To the attached outdoor garden storage area and side yard first. We need to test movement, noise, door discipline, and infected response. We also need propane, rain barrels, soil, tarps, fencing, and maybe seeds later. Those seeds are a future problem, and hunger is a present one. Most important, the garden center gives us an enclosed outside area we partially control. The garden gate to the parking lot stays shut. We open only the interior garden access, move inside the fenced area, and work behind the closed outer gate. If infected crowd the fence, we retreat. Team is small. Me, Omar, Grace, Dennis, and a quiet employee named Sophia, who knows where garden stock is stored. Lana stays inside. Priya stands ready. Walter monitors radios and battery lights. No guns, no engines, hand tools only. Everyone wears gloves, long sleeves, eye protection from the safety aisle, and layered clothing. Not armor. There is no magic armor in a hardware store. Thick fabric and gloves buy a second. A second matters. We open the interior garden doors at 9:07. The air outside is wet and colder. The garden center looks wrecked from yesterday. Soil bags split, planters broken, patio chairs overturned, seed racks scattered. The outer fence has 3 infected against it within 2 minutes. More turn from the side lot as we move. Quiet, Omar says. No one needed the reminder, but it steadies us. We move fast but not frantic. Propane cylinders from the cage are outside the fence line, inaccessible unless we open a locked gate facing the lot. Not worth it. Smaller camping fuel canisters are inside on a display. We take those. Tarps, rope, hose, buckets, garden sprayers, rain barrels, fertilizer, hand tools. We use carts with rubber wheels and keep them from rattling. Dennis keeps wanting to grab lumber from outside racks, but lumber is noisy and we have plenty inside. Sophia finds 2 pallets of bottled water behind a seasonal screen. For 1 second, all 5 of us just stare. The pallets were meant for summer promo displays. Cases wrapped in plastic, damp but sealed. Maybe 70 cases. Enough to change the mood inside. Not enough to solve everything. But enough to prevent today from becoming a water fight. Then the outer garden gate rattles hard. Not infected. People. A man outside has climbed onto the bumper of a pickup and is pulling at the top of the chain-link fence. 2 women stand below him with backpacks. Behind them, infected move between parked cars. "Hey!" the man shouts. "Let us in!" We freeze. He sees the water pallet. His face changes. Not hope. Hunger, ownership, calculation, all in 1 instant. "Open the gate!" he yells. "You got water!" Grace says. "Move the pallet, now!" We move. That one shout brings infected. The man outside does not understand until one grabs at his leg from below. He kicks down, loses balance, and drops off the bumper. The women run. till he scrambles after them, still yelling at us, which pulls more infected toward his voice. One hits the fence hard enough to make the metal posts flex. Sophia whispers, "We have to go." Omar nods. Inside. We abandon half the garden hall and take the water, tarps, hose, and fuel canisters. The pallet jack does not roll well over the garden center surface. It bumps, sticks, squeals once. That squeal draws every infected at the fence toward the interior doors. "Lift front," I say. Dennis and I lift the pallet edge just enough for Omar to force the jack over a threshold. The cases shift. One falls. Grace leaves it. Good choice. A lost case is not a lost life. We get inside and close the interior doors. The infected crowd, the garden fence, pushing at the place where the man climbed. The fence holds, but the top rail bends. We do not cheer about the water. We move it to the blue zone and cover it with tarps. Then Lana announces a rule before anyone can ask. Water remains shared. Anyone hiding cases loses ration priority. Ray looks at the floor. Good. At 10:30, we hear engines again. Not pickups this time. A box truck. It comes from behind the store, receiving. Omar and I run. The truck backs toward the sealed dock, beeping in reverse. The sound is the worst thing in the world for 10 seconds. Loud, regular, impossible to hide. Infected in the back lot turn toward it. Some are already gathered near the trailer gap from last night. The truck hits the dock bumper crooked and stops. A man jumps out of the driver's side wearing a grocery store uniform. A woman climbs out after him. Then another man opens the back roll-up from inside the truck. And we see boxes, food, canned goods, bakery trays, produce crates, bottled drinks, random supplies thrown in fast. The grocery people made a run to us, or they ran out of their own building and came to the biggest locked shelter in sight. The driver looks up at the receiving door camera, if it still works, and yells, "Open! We brought food!" Inside, every person near receiving hears that word. Food. It moves through the store faster than any alarm. Lana arrives, and for the first time since this began, I see her hesitate in a way that is not strategic. Food changes risk. Food makes impossible choices negotiable. Omar says, "Door opens. Infected come with them." The driver outside slaps the receiving door. "Please, we got 10 people in the truck." 10. Wes appears behind us. He hears the number and says nothing. His brother was 1. This is 10. Numbers do terrible things to guilt. Lana asks, "Can we open partially?" Omar says, "Dock door up 2 feet. People crawl. We block with pallets. But if infected are close, no," I say. "We need a corridor inside. Pallets both sides? No crowd? Medical checks immediately? Food stays at receiving until sorted." Lana nods. "Do it." We build a receiving corridor in 6 minutes with pallets, appliance boxes, and 2 lines of carts. It is ugly, but it creates a channel from the dock to a check area. Grace keeps everyone else back with a voice that has become more useful than any tool. Priya puts on gloves and stands at the end with Elena. Omar raises the dock door 2 feet. Cold air and engine exhaust roll in. The driver crawls under first. He is shaking. Priya grabs him by the shoulders and moves him to the check area. Then the woman. Then a teenage girl. Then 2 older people. Then a boy, maybe 12. Then the man from inside the truck. Then another woman with a bandaged hand. Then a man who keeps looking back. Then no one. "Where's 10? Lana calls. The driver says, "He didn't make it onto the truck." Lana's jaw sets. Then something slams against the outside of the roll-up door. Omar lowers it. A hand gets under the gap. Not alive. Not reaching with purpose. Just caught in motion. Omar keeps lowering. The door stops against the obstruction. He reverses an inch, and I use a push broom handle to shove the hand back. The door slams down. The grocery group brought food, yes. They also brought sound, movement, and more infected to receiving. That is how every gain arrives now, carrying its own bill. The grocery people change the store more than the water did. They bring food, but also stories. The grocery store had almost 200 people inside after the first alerts. It became a fight before dark. Employees tried to close the pharmacy side. Customers broke into the back stockroom. Someone fired a gun near the registers. The roof group started when people climbed up through a maintenance ladder and pulled it behind them. The box truck group loaded what they could through the rear receiving area after infected breached the front. Their names come slowly through medical checks and exhaustion. The driver is Martin. The woman with him is Carla, assistant produce manager. The teenage girl is named Jess, niece of a grocery employee who did not make it out. The older couple are Ben and Ruth. The boy is Lucas. The bandaged woman is Tara. The quiet man who kept looking back is Phil. The last man, from the truck interior, is Andre, a warehouse stalker with a practical head and a bad cut over one eyebrow. Priya checks each person. No bites. Tara's bandaged hand is from broken glass. Andre's cut is from falling into a metal rack. Everyone gets logged. Everyone gets water. No one gets free movement until Lana explains rules. Martin does not accept that well. "We brought you food," he says. "You don't get to treat us like prisoners." Lana answers, "You brought food to a sealed building and asked to come inside. You are inside. Now you follow the same rules as everyone else." "We could have kept driving." Omar says, "No, you couldn't. Backlot's filling up." Martin looks toward the receiving door and says nothing. The food inventory is both better and worse than people expect. There are canned beans, vegetables, soup, peanut butter, crackers, cereal, powdered drink mix, bread, bananas, apples, onions, potatoes, bottled juices, baby formula, and random snacks. Enough for several days if rationed hard. Less if people eat from fear. Much less if more people arrive. We create a food cage and tool rental using chain link panels from garden fencing and padlocks. That causes anger. Food behind chain looks like power. Food loose becomes theft. There is no version that feels fair to everyone. Lana puts Carla and Grace in charge of food distribution, not herself. Smart again. A leader who controls doors and food becomes a target. Split authority. Make theft a community problem, not a personal insult. Lunch is soup heated on a small camping stove near the loading area with ventilation cracked through an upper dock vent. Not a generator, not a big flame. Priya insists children eat first again. This time adults get a small bowl. Warm food changes the building. People speak lower afterward. Some apologize for earlier behavior without using the word sorry. One man helps mop restrooms after eating. A woman organizes the kids with coloring books from the paint sample area and pencils from the contractor desk. For 2 hours, it almost works. Then Tara gets sick. Not dramatically, no screaming, no sudden turn. She sits near flooring with her bandaged hand in her lap and stares at the aisle end for too long. Priya notices first. She kneels, asks questions, checks her temperature, checks the wound again. Tara says, "It was glass." Priya says, "I know what you told me. It was glass. I need to see it again." Tara refuses. That refusal reaches the room without sound. People stop pretending not to listen. Phil stands up. "Leave her alone." Priya does not look at him. "Sit down." "She cut it in the store." "Sit down." Phil does not sit. Andre moves between Phil and Priya, surprising everyone. "Let the nurse check," Phil says. "You weren't there," Andre says. "I was close enough." Tara starts crying. She unwraps the bandage herself. The cut is across her palm, but there are crescent marks near the base of her thumb. Not deep. Not enough for a clear answer. Enough for everyone to see a question. Tara whispers, "A woman grabbed me by the cart. She had teeth on my glove. I pulled away. The glass broke." I don't know. That is worse than a lie. It is confusion with consequences. Priya looks at Lana. No one wants the next rule, but the rule already exists in the shape of the room. Isolation. We use the installed display sheds. That idea comes from Grace. Lawn and Garden has several backyard sheds built on the sales floor, display models with doors and small windows. We move one into a quarantine area near the back wall using pipe rollers and 6 people pushing slowly. It is absurd, moving a shed inside a store during the end of town, but it works. We set it near the office hall, away from sleeping areas, close enough for observation, far enough for safety. We remove loose tools. We leave water, bucket, blanket, work light, and a radio with the talk button taped so Tara can call if needed. Phil tries to go in with her. Priya says no. "She's my wife," he says. Tara looks at him through the shed doorway. "Don't." That one word stops him. She goes inside. We latch the shed door from outside with a hasp and padlock from hardware, but we leave the key hanging on a hook 10 feet away, under Lana's control. It is not humane enough. It is not cruel enough. It is what we can do. After that, the store divides in invisible ways. Old group, grocery group, families, employees, door watches, people with skills, people without. People who think rules saved everyone. People who think rules are becoming a prison. Tara inside the shed becomes proof for both sides. To one group, she proves why checks matter. To another, she proves that any one of us can be locked away once fear needs a target. Carl starts talking again. Not loudly. That is his improvement. Quiet is more dangerous now. He talks near appliances, near flooring, near the water zone. He says Lana is building a little kingdom. He says Omar controls the machines and can crush anyone's exit plan. He says I am not even an employee. He says food came from outside, so food should not be locked by store people. He says if the infected are slow, a group could leave with supplies and make it to the school or church. He is not wrong about everything. That is what makes him dangerous. Bad arguments are easy to fight. Half-right arguments get inside people. The store cannot feed everyone forever. The school may have food. The church may have a basement. Leaving might be necessary eventually. Lana does have power nobody voted for. I am not an employee. Food behind chain is uncomfortable, but Carl does not offer a plan. He offers resentment with a door attached. At 4:40, Tara turns. Priya sees it from 10 feet away. No one else is allowed close. We hear the shed wall bang once, then again. Phil runs toward it, and Omar tackles him before he reaches the door. Phil screams Tara's name. Inside, Tara does not answer with words. The store hears enough. No graphic details. No one needs them. Tara was exposed. Tara turned. The rule was justified. That does not make anyone feel better. Phil refuses food that night. He sits against a rack of closet doors and stares at the shed until Grace sits beside him. She does not talk. She just sits there with the mop handle across her knees. That night, nobody complains about isolation procedures. That night, Carl stops talking where Omar can hear him. On the third morning, the parking lot is worse. Not crowded in one mass, That would almost be easier. Instead, the infected are spread everywhere we need to go. Around the front entrance, near receiving, along the garden fence, between us and the grocery store, against the pharmacy windows, in the service alley behind the pet store. Some have moved onto the roof access ladder cage outside and remain there, gripping metal. The town beyond the shopping center has gone quiet in a way that makes every small sound important. No steady sirens now. No traffic. No normal engines. Only occasional gunshots from far neighborhoods. Barking dogs until the barking stops. A helicopter once around 9:15 and then never again. We cannot stay forever, but leaving without a destination is just dying in a wider area. So we improve. Not perfectly, not heroically. We improve one problem at a time. Roof water becomes a real system. Walter and I cut and reroute downspout sections into storage totes, then into trash cans marked by use. We build a basic filter stand from shelving, landscape fabric, washed sand, charcoal, and buckets. Priya still requires boiling for drinking, and fuel becomes the limiting factor. Rain barrels from garden help. So do unopened water pallets. Still, every drink is counted. Sleeping areas get rearranged. Families near the back wall, single adults in the flooring area, watch teams closer to assigned zones. Nobody sleeps near doors. Nobody sleeps under skylights. Display rugs become insulation from the concrete. Moving blankets hang from shelving to block sightlines and make small spaces for privacy. The roof becomes a lookout point, but only during daylight and never alone. We tie safety ropes near the hatch. We use binoculars from a customer's truck, found in his bag after he admits he grabbed it before coming inside. He offers them to the group after seeing the roof view. Small decency still exists. It just has to fight for space. The front barricade gets rebuilt from the inside. We cannot clear the infected trapped near it, so we build back from the first line. A second line 15 feet inside using lumber racks, doors, carts, and stacked tile. If the first line fails, the second line slows entry. That is how all defense works now. Layers, no single miracle. Garden fence gets braced with lumber diagonals and soil pallets. We stop trying to make it strong enough forever. We make it strong enough to warn us before it fails. Receiving becomes our biggest concern. Food came through there. So will everyone else who learns it can open. At 11:30, the school bus arrives. Not full, not official. A short yellow bus with one front tire low and a cracked windshield turns into the back lot and stops near the loading dock. Infected follow it from the road. The driver honks once before someone inside stops him, maybe understanding the mistake too late. Every watch in the store hears it. On the roof, I see children through the bus windows. That breaks the building. Adults can be refused. Armed men can be refused. A bus with children becomes a test no one is ready to pass. Lana comes up to the roof with Omar and me. We look down at the bus. Maybe 12 kids, 2 adults, the driver. The bus door is jammed or blocked because people inside are pushing at it and not getting out. Infected gather around the front, are drawn by the horn and engine. Lana grips the parapet with one hand. No. It is not a refusal. It is protest against the situation itself. Omar says, if we open receiving, we might get them in. Might. I say, distance from bus to dock is 40 yards. Infected between. Door height issue. Kids panic. We need a corridor. With what? Lana asks. I look at the store lot, the back apron, the carts inside, the lumber, the chain link panels, the forklifts. Carts and fencing? I say. Mobile lane? Omar looks at me as if I just suggested building a bridge during a fire. Outside? Yes. Too noisy. Yes. Too many. Yes. Lana says, "Can it work?" I do not answer quickly. That matters. False confidence gets people killed. It can fail in 6 different ways, I say. But if we do nothing, the bus fails one way. She nods once. Plan it. We have 10 minutes before the infected mass gets too thick, maybe less. The plan is crude. Open receiving dock part way. Use 2 forklifts? No. Only 1 operator we trust and 1 machine near receiving. Too risky outside. Instead, we create a wedge from the dock to the bus using flat carts, chain link fence panels, lumber, and people with poles. Not to fight, to guide. We pull the bus passengers out through the rear emergency door if it opens, move them along the fenced cart lane, and close behind. It is insane. It is also the only plan with steps. Volunteers come too fast, and I reject half of them. Parents with kids inside cannot go. Anyone injured cannot go. Anyone too angry cannot go. Anyone wanting a weapon for confidence cannot go. Final team. Me, Omar, Andre, Grace, Dennis, Sophia, Martin the grocery driver because he knows vehicle doors, and a woman named Hattie who used to coach middle school soccer and has a voice that carries without panic. Priya prepares receiving for triage. Lana controls the door. Walter watches power and radios. Carl volunteers and gets denied. He takes that personally. Of course he does. We open receiving at 11:47. The smell outside is rainwater, exhaust, garbage from nearby dumpsters, and the sour stink of abandoned meat from somewhere behind the grocery store. The sound hits us next. Infected hands on bus metal, children inside, the low idle of the bus engine, someone crying, someone praying. We move the cart panels out in sections. Carts chained side by side, fence panels zip-tied and wired to them, lumber through handles for stiffness. The wheels hate the asphalt. Chitut, every bump rattles. Infected turn toward us. Steady, Omar says. Andre takes the left pole. I take the right. Grace and Sophia push the second section. Dennis carries spare chain and a hammer. Martin runs ahead low toward the back of the bus, yelling, "Emergency door! Back door! Open from inside!" The first infected reaches our lane before the bus door opens. Andre shoves with the pole, not swinging, just pushing the infected sideways into a parked van. It stumbles, corrects, comes back. I push another away from the carts. The pole bends. My gloves slip on wet wood. I adjust and keep moving. No hero moves, no clean strikes, just distance, pressure, retreat, correction. The rear bus door bursts open. Hattie's voice cuts through everything. "One at a time! Hands on the seat in front of you!" I move to my voice. The first child jumps down and nearly falls. Martin grabs his backpack and shoves him into the lane. Grace catches him and points toward receiving. "Run to the door, go." The second child freezes on the bus step. Hattie does not beg. "Move now." The child moves. Infected press harder from the sides. One grabs the fence panel and pulls. Zip ties snap one by one. Sophia jams a rake handle through the mesh and twists, trapping its wrist long enough for Andre to shove the whole panel forward. The lane shifts. A cartwheel locks. Dennis kicks it free. Kids come out. 4, 5, 6. Then an adult woman from the bus appears with blood on her sleeve. Priya's rule hits my mind before she reaches us. "Stop," I say. She looks at me with wild anger. "I'm the teacher. Show the arm." "No time." "Show it." An infected hits the panel hard enough to shove the cart into my hip. The teacher pulls her sleeve up. Long scrape, not bite. Maybe, no time. That phrase becomes dangerous, but real. Move, I say. She moves. More kids. The driver crawls out last, limping. Martin yells that the front is filling. Hattie counts kids against the number shouted from inside. One short. One more, she yells. A small boy is still inside, under a seat, refusing to move. The teacher turns back. I grab her arm. No. He's mine. Not biologically, maybe. Does not matter. She pulls free and climbs back into the bus. Everyone understands at once that she is probably not coming back out unless someone helps. Omar leaves the lane. I shout his name. He ignores me. He climbs into the bus with a crowbar in one hand and disappears between seats. The lane starts failing. Andre sees it and takes Omar's position without being told. Grace pushes the children faster. Sophia's panel bends inward. Martin trips, gets up, keeps moving. Dennis finally becomes useful in the exact way he wanted to be useful from the beginning. He takes a hammer and starts knocking cartwheel locks loose, clearing the path, fixing the stupid mechanical failures that can kill people during a rescue. Omar comes out with the boy under one arm and the teacher behind him. An infected reaches through the front bus partition and grabs the teacher's backpack. She slips one arm out, then the other, leaving the pack behind. Omar drops the boy into Hattie's arms. Go, he says. We collapse the lane backward instead of trying to carry it clean. That was part of the plan. But plans feel different when hands are on the fence and infected are pushing through gaps. We retreat section by section. Inside, Lana raises the dock door higher for the children, then lowers it as soon as the last adult clears. Andre is almost last. An infected grabs the back of his jacket. He does not spin. Spinning would feed his arm into it. He shrugs out of the jacket, lets it go, and dives under the door. Dennis yanks his legs through. The door slams down on the jacket and traps the infected outside. Receiving becomes shouting, crying, medical checks, roll call, wet shoes, and children staring at shelves full of tools, as if tools have betrayed the shape of the world. The teacher's name is Marisol. The boy under the seat is her nephew. Nobody says the rescue was worth it. Nobody says it was stupid. Both statements would be too small. We bring in 14 children and 3 adults. We also bring in more need, more noise, and more attention. By 2 o'clock, the backlot is packed with infected. By 3 o'clock, Carl starts talking about how Lana risked everyone for strangers after refusing other strangers. This time, people listen. The split happens after sunset. It starts over food, but it is not about food. It starts over children, but it is not about children. It starts over fairness, which is the word people use when fear wants moral clothing. Carl stands near the flooring aisle while dinner is being portioned. He does not shout. That is why it works. He speaks with a steady voice to small groups, and the words travel. We have too many people now. True. We can't feed everyone. True. She brought the bus kids in. True, though not alone. She denied the roof group. Also true. She locks food and fuel. True. She decides who leaves. Partly true. We should split supplies and let people choose. That sounds fair until the next sentence arrives. Strong group leaves tonight through receiving before the backlot gets worse. That is stupid. Not morally stupid. Mechanically stupid. Night, receiving, infected mass, children inside, noise, no confirmed destination. It fails every test. I tell him that in front of 15 people. Carl smiles a little. Of course you say that, you're her wall builder. I'm the man who watched the backlot fill after the bus. You're scared. Good. Scared is useful. Some people look at me strangely. They expect denial. I do not give it. Carl says, useful for keeping us here until the food runs out? No. Useful for not opening a dock door into a crowd because you want control back. His smile fades. There it is, the personal part. He steps closer. Grace steps closer too, from the side, not behind me. Omar is across the aisle. Lana is not here. Good. This cannot always be her fight. Carl says, you don't know me. I know your plans skip the hard parts. My plan is choice. Your plan is taking supplies, opening receiving at night, and leaving children behind with less food. That hits the group. Carl points at me. You see? He twists it. I look at the people around us, then ask him, how much food does he take? Who carries it? Which exit? How many infected outside? Where does he go? What does he do if someone gets bitten at the door? What happens to the people left behind when the dock opens? No one speaks for a second. Carl says, we figure it out. That means no plan. A woman from the grocery group says, staying is no plan either. I turn to her. Correct. That surprises her. I keep going. Staying forever is not a plan. Leaving tonight is not a plan. We need daylight scouting, route selection, supplies by weight, teams by skill, destination options, and rules for return. We need to know if the school, church, or distribution center has people, food, or fire. We need to reduce noise around receiving before any exit. That starts tomorrow. Carl says, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Yes. Sometimes waiting until daylight is the adult decision. He hates that. I meant him to. Lana arrives then, but she does not take over. She stands at the edge and listens. Carl looks past me to her. Put it to a vote. That one lands hard. People shift. A vote sounds civilized. It also lets frightened people vote to do something physically impossible. But refusing a vote sounds authoritarian. Carl knows that. Lana says, vote on what? Whether anyone who wants to leave can take a fair share and go tonight. Lana nods slowly. All right. I look at her sharply. She raises one hand slightly. Trust me. Then she says, anyone who votes to leave tonight must also vote yes on opening receiving tonight, moving through the infected at the dock, and reducing supplies for everyone staying, including children. Same vote. Full wording. Carl's jaw tightens. Lana continues. Anyone who votes no is not voting to stay forever. No means no exit tonight. Tomorrow morning we form a scouting plan. Grace says, written names. Carl says, secret vote. Grace says, no. Door decisions get names. That kills most of it. Not all. 7 people put names down to leave tonight. Carl, 2 grocery men, 1 young couple without kids. Dennis, after staring at the floor for a long time. And Wes. Wes signing hurts more than I expect. Omar sees it too. Wes. Wes does not look up. My brother's gone. I'm not dying in a store. No one answers. Lana reads the names, then the count. 7 for leaving tonight. 48 against. Several abstain. The result holds, but the damage remains. A named minority with a plan delayed is not harmless. It becomes a group. We move Carl and the other 6 off door watch. That causes more anger, but not doing it would be foolish. They sleep together near appliances, talking low. Grace watches from a distance. At 11:30, Tara's shed goes quiet. It had been banging occasionally all day. Now nothing. Priya says we still do not open it. No one argues. At 2:12 in the morning, the receiving alarm whistle blows. I wake on carpet padding with a screwdriver in my hand and no memory of grabbing it. Around me, people sit up in the half-dark. Another whistle, then shouting. Carl's group is at receiving. Of course, not all 7, 4. Carl, one grocery man, Dennis, and Wes. The young couple did not go. Maybe changed minds, maybe lacked courage, maybe had sense. Carl has bolt cutters. Dennis has a pry bar. The grocery man has a backpack full of food. Wes has nothing but the look of a man walking toward a grave he chose. Omar is already there, I blocking the dock controls. Grace stands beside him. Lana comes running from the office hall. I reach the end of the aisle as Carl cuts the chain on the inner receiving gate. Stop, Lana says. Carl says, no. The backlot outside answers before any of us can. Infected hit the receiving door. Not one, many. Drawn by voices, metal cutting, movement, maybe smell, maybe random pressure. The overhead door rattles in its tracks. Carl flinches. That flinch tells everyone he had not believed the danger was that close. Omar steps toward him. Put the cutters down. Carl raises them chest high. Back off. Wes moves to the dock control. I shout, Wes, don't! He looks at me, and for one clear second I see him not as a problem, but as a man stuck at the sound of his brother outside the trailer. He is not trying to escape anymore. He is trying to undo a moment that cannot be undone. He hits the control. The dock door jerks upward 6 inches before Omar slams the emergency stop. 6 inches is enough. Hands come under, fingers, arms. The bottom seal bulges. The door shakes. The grocery man screams and drops his backpack. Dennis backs away, horrified by the result of the plan he helped. Carl says, close it. Omar hits the down control. The door lowers, but bodies outside are now jammed against it. It will not seal. The motor strains. Walter shouts from behind us, stop before you burn it out. Omar stops. We have a gap, 6 inches of failure. Infected cannot crawl through yet, but hands reach under, sweeping the concrete. The sound brings more from outside. The door track rattles harder. Lana turns on Carl with a fury I have not seen from her. You opened my door. Carl says, I didn't. You opened my door. Not the store's door. Her door. In that moment, she owns every barrier by responsibility, not power. No time for more. We need to seal the gap manually. Omar gets the forklift. We load the heaviest pallet nearby, boxed floor tile, and drive it against the base of the door, careful not to crush the track. Walter and I wedge lumber under the door lip from inside, then stack concrete bags along the bottom. Hands still reach through gaps. One catches my glove. I pull back, leaving the glove in its grip. Grace hooks the glove with her mop handle and drags it away, then smashes the hand back with the flat end of a shovel. Not graphic, just necessary. Wes stands frozen until Priya grabs him and pulls him back. Carl tries to slip away. Andre stops him. No big fight. Andre simply steps in front of him and says, no. Carl looks around and sees what is different now. No uncertain group. No audience to persuade. Just people who watched him endanger everyone. Lana says, tool cage. Carl says, you can't lock me up. Grace says, we locked up food. We locked up fuel. We locked up sickness. You opened a door. There is no vote this time. Carl gets put in the tool rental cage, behind the chain-link food section, with water, blanket, and bucket. Dennis sits outside it for an hour, crying without noise. Wes goes to medical, not locked, but watched. The grocery man gives up the backpack and refuses to look at anyone. The receiving door holds, but not well. The bottom is compromised. The track may be bent. The motor smells burnt. The infected outside have learned there is sound and movement there. By dawn, Our best exit is half ruined. Day 4 begins with the decision nobody wants. We cannot stay until food runs out. We cannot leave through receiving. The front is blocked by too many infected and broken glass. The garden center outer gate is stressed and visible from the lot. Lumber entrance opens toward the contractor side, where fewer infected gather, but there is no clear vehicle access unless we move through the parking lanes. Roof exit leads only to roof, then exterior ladder, then service alley full of unknowns. There is one option nobody likes. Through the wall. Home improvement stores share walls with neighboring retail units sometimes. In our plaza, the Home Depot-style store has a closed appliance outlet on one side and a pet supply store beyond the other service corridor. The wall behind plumbing backs onto an empty retail space that used to be a craft store. Elena knows from old store plans in the office that there is a demising wall, metal studs, drywall, maybe block sections near columns, not structural through most of it. If we can cut through quietly enough, we may enter the empty craft store, then exit through its back office into a service hall or roof ladder area away from the packed receiving dock. Maybe. Plans based on building memory are dangerous, but still better than opening a known crowd. Dennis becomes useful again. He knows walls, for real this time. He and I inspect the plumbing back wall. We tap, measure stud spacing, remove a section of pegboard, find drywall behind. No electrical at chest height after Walter checks with a tester. We use hand tools first. Utility knives, drywall saws, pry bars wrapped in cloth to reduce noise. We cut low and slow, making a hole between studs large enough to inspect. Behind it is insulation, metal stud, another layer of drywall, then darkness. Good. Not easy, but good. We work in shifts all morning, hiding the sound under controlled noise elsewhere. People moving pallets, water transfer, kids guided to the far side. No power saws, no hammering unless needed. Drywall dust coats my sleeves and face. It gets into my mouth. I rinse with one careful sip and hate myself for using even that. At noon, we have a crawl opening into the old craft store. I go first. The air inside is stale and dusty. The store has been vacant for months. Empty shelves, old price tags, one broken checkout counter, strips of sunlight through papered front windows. No infected visible. No people. No food, no supplies except trash, a few abandoned display racks, and office furniture. Most important, the front doors are intact and the rear hall door is closed. I crawl fully through and wait, listening. Nothing. Omar comes next, then Grace, then Lana. We clear the store slowly. Office, restroom, storage closet, back hallway. The rear exit opens into a shared service corridor that runs behind several units. One end leads toward the pet store loading area. The other leads toward the side alley behind the old craft store. The alley has fewer infected visible from a small wired glass window. Not none, fewer. This changes everything. Not rescue, not freedom. A route. We do not announce it loudly. Lana gathers key people and explains. We will not evacuate immediately. We will use the craft store as a buffer zone and staging area. Move supplies through the wall. Reinforce both sides. Scout the alley from roof and rear windows. Prepare carts with food and water by weight, not desire. Build quiet hand-carried packs. Decide who can move and who cannot. If the building fails, the route exists. If an opportunity opens, we use it. Carl watches from the cage while supplies move past in controlled amounts. He says nothing. That worries me more than arguing. By mid-afternoon, the craft store becomes our second chamber. We cut the opening wider and frame the edges with lumber to prevent sharp metal tearing clothes. We create a cover panel that can be screwed into place from the Home Depot side if needed. We move part of the food, part of the water, medical supplies, batteries, hand tools, tarps, rope, and children's packs into the craft store. See, never all supplies in one place. That lesson came from every failed system before us. At 4 o'clock, Roof Watch spots a convoy, not military. Civilian trucks, vans, 2 motorcycles, 1 tow truck with a welded front bumper, moving slowly down the main road. Armed people walk beside it. The convoy stops at the grocery store first. We hear shouting, then gunfire. Then the convoy moves toward our plaza. It does not come directly to us. It circles, scouting. That is worse than a mob. A mob reacts. A scouting group plans. 1 motorcycle stops near the front of our store. The rider looks at the barricade, the broken glass, the stacked carts. He points. Another truck goes toward the garden center side. A man in the truck bed films with his phone or uses it as a scope. I cannot tell. Lana watches from the roof beside me. "They'll come tonight," she says. I nod. Abundance has advertised itself. The big orange store, the water, the blocked doors, the rescue bus, the box truck. Every action bought survival and sent a signal. The store is full. The store is defended. The store has supplies. To desperate people, that means one thing. Take it before someone else does. We move faster. No more debates. We prepare to abandon the Home Depot side if necessary and retreat into the craft store, then the service corridor, then out through the alley toward a storm drainage channel behind the plaza. From the roof, the channel appears to lead toward a subdivision, then woods beyond. Not safe, just less obvious than the main road. We cannot take everything. This becomes the hardest practical truth. People want tools, too many tools. Drills, saws, axes, batteries, propane, tents, coolers, solar lights, tarps, rope, crowbars, water, food, medicine, clothes. Every item feels useful. Every pound punishes movement. Children cannot carry much. Injured people slow the line. The baby needs formula. Jared cannot walk without help. Ben needs a cane. Ruth refuses to leave him. Phil refuses to leave Tara's shed until Priya tells him Tara is no longer his wife in any way that can be helped. He slaps a shelf after that, then apologizes to the shelf, which tells me how far gone everyone is. We build packs from tool bags and backpacks, food in small loads, water in bottles, not buckets. First aid kits split. No full-size generators, no chainsaws. Too loud, too heavy, too fuel-hungry. No 5-gallon paint pails, no tile, no big tents. Tarps, yes. Rope, yes. Duct tape, yes. Water filters improvised, maybe. D-batteries selected. Flashlights, low beam. Work gloves for everyone. Safety glasses for those near front. Masks for dust and smell, not infection. We do not pretend masks solve bites. At 6:30, Lana opens Carl's cage. The room goes tense. Carl looks surprised. He expected trial, punishment, maybe abandonment. Lana says, "We may have to move tonight. You can walk with the group under watch, or you can stay here. You do not touch doors. You do not carry tools. You do not lead anyone. Decide now." Carl looks at the people around him. Nobody looks eager to defend him. He says, "I'll walk." Grace hands him a child's backpack full of bottled water. "Carry this." He takes it. That is the closest thing to mercy the day allows. At 8:10, the convoy hits the garden center. The first sign is not gunfire. It is music. Some truck outside starts blasting music from speakers, loud and stupid and bright, pouring through the broken evening air. It comes from the garden side, then moves toward the front. The infected in the lot turn toward it. The convoy is using sound to move the dead. Smart. Too smart for comfort. The music pulls infected away from one side, then back toward another. Engines rev. Someone bangs metal. The garden fence shakes under sudden pressure, not from raiders cutting it, but from infected redirected into it. The convoy is herding them into our weak points. Omar stands at the garden watch and says, "They know what they're doing." Lana orders retreat from the garden zone. Not full evacuation yet. Controlled pullback. We abandon outer garden supplies. Close interior doors. Brace them. Move everyone non-essential toward the wall opening into the craft store. The front barricade gets hit next. A truck rams the outer cart line once, not hard enough to enter, just testing. The sound rolls through the store. Children start crying in the craft store. Hattie and Marisol keep them moving with quiet commands. The truck backs up, hits again. The first barricade shifts. The second line waits behind it. Gunfire cracks from outside, aimed high at windows and lights. We stay low. No one shoots back because we have almost no guns, and shooting back would invite more. A bullet punches through a high sign over electrical and disappears into shelving. Another hits a tool chest with a flat metal slap. At receiving, infected still crowd the damaged door. The convoy does not need to attack there. Carl already helped them by weakening it. Lana gets on the store intercom using battery backup Walter rigged for low power. Her voice comes through overhead speakers, faint but clear. Move to secondary area. No running. Carry assigned packs. Door teams withdraw in order. This is not a drill. No one laughs at the phrase. Nobody has enough old world left for that. I am at the front with Omar, Andre, and Dennis when the truck hits the third time. The outer line fails. Tile shifts. Carts twist. One tool chest rolls backward and crashes into a pallet of doors. Infected near the front surge toward the new gap, drawn by truck noise and movement. Raiders outside shout. The truck backs away before infected reach it. They are not trying to enter first. They are letting the dead open the store. Andre says, "We fall back." Yes. We retreat to the second line. The infected press into the vestibule and through the broken outer barricade. Slow, uneven, but many. Hands catch on carts. Legs trip over tile. Bodies jam in the same gaps that protected us before. Barriers do not care who uses them. That buys minutes. Dennis wants to add a brace. "No," I tell him. "Done. Move." He looks at the line he helped build, jaw working. "Dennis?" He comes. We move down the racetrack aisle, knocking over prepared shelf units behind us to block lanes. Not random destruction. We had marked them earlier. Pull pins, drop displays, create clutter fields. It slows infected. It slows raiders too. Everything costs time, and time is the only supply we can create from mess. At the garden side, the interior doors begin to bow. Grace withdraws with Sophia and 2 watch members. She has one cut on her cheek from flying glass, not bad. She does not mention it. She stops only to tape a sign to the inside of the garden doors. Sorry, I do not know who she writes it for. At 8:28, we begin moving through the wall into the craft store. Children first, with Hattie and Marisol. Medical next, Priya, Jared, Fever Woman, Ben, Ruth, the baby and mother, food carriers, water carriers, then general group. Watch teams last. Lana does not go early. No one expects her to. No one asks. The store behind us becomes noise and shelves falling, engines outside, infected inside, raiders shouting when the infected do not move the way they want. Gunshots, breaking glass. The old retail world being dismantled by need and panic. Carl moves in the middle with the child's backpack. He keeps his head down. For now, that is enough. Wes stops at receiving sightline. I see him from the wall opening. He looks toward the damaged dock door, maybe thinking about his brother, maybe thinking about his own failed attempt, maybe deciding whether he deserves to leave. I cross to him. "Move," I say. He says, "I caused this. Part of it." He looks at me. I do not soften it. He does not need comfort built from lies. I say, "You caused part of it. Carl caused part. The convoy caused part. The outbreak caused the rest. Move anyway." He turns and walks toward the wall. That is all survival gives him. Not forgiveness. Movement. At 8:35, the garden interior doors fail. Infected enter from the side. Not a flood. Enough. The Home Depot side is lost. Lana orders final withdrawal. Omar drives the forklift one last time. Not outside, not for rescue, but to block the main aisle behind us with a double stack of drywall and a pallet of mortar. He jumps off before fully setting the brake. The machine keeps rolling an inch and stops crooked. Good enough. We pass through the wall into the craft store. Dennis and I pull the cover panel into place. Walter drives screws with a manual ratchet because power tools are too loud and battery drills are needed elsewhere. It is slow. Too slow. Through the opening edges, I hear movement in plumbing. A shelf crashes. Something hits the wall from the other side. "Faster," Andre says. Walter snaps. "You want faster? Grow another hand?" Andre grabs the ratchet from him and finishes the bottom screws with ugly force. The panel holds. For now. The craft store is dark except for covered flashlights. Everyone is packed tight. Too tight, but quieter than I thought possible for 70-plus people. Kids have been told this is a quiet game. Nobody believes it, but children understand adult seriousness faster than adults think. Lana whispers the next order. "Service corridor." We move. The service corridor smells of dust, old cardboard, and something dead near the pet store loading area. We do not go that way. Our line moves toward the side alley in groups of 10. Grace and Hattie control children. Omar leads with Andre. I stay near the rear with Lana, Dennis, and Walter. Carl is in the middle, still carrying water. Wes helps Jared move with a shoulder under his arm. Phil walks alone. The side exit is a metal door with a push bar and a small wired glass window. Through it, the alley looks dim, wet, and mostly clear. Mostly has become a dangerous word. 2 infected stand near a dumpster at the far end. One is down near a storm drain, moving one arm. The drainage channel beyond the alley fence is visible through a gap where a service gate hangs open. The convoy noise stays on the front side of the store. They do not know about the wall yet, or they know and have not reached it. Lana gives me one look. I nod. We open the side door. The first group moves out low and fast. No running unless told. Running scatters lines. Hattie keeps one hand on a boy's backpack and points with the other. Omar reaches the open service gate and holds it. Andre moves to the dumpster side with a pole. The 2 infected turn. Andre pushes one into the dumpster. Omar uses a shovel to force the other back through the service gate path. Not clean, not dramatic. Work. Group 1 enters the drainage channel. Group 2 moves. Then Group 3. The channel is concrete, shallow with rainwater running through the middle, weeds along the edges, graffiti on the walls. It leads behind the plaza toward the subdivision. It also gives us lower ground and cover from the parking lot. Bad if trapped, good if moving. Half the group is out when the craft store wall behind us takes a heavy hit. Raiders found the opening. A voice from the Home Depot side shouts, "They cut through!" Lana says, "Move faster." No one argues. Group 4, Group 5. A gunshot hits the craft store ceiling. Dust falls, people crouch. The line stalls for 2 seconds. Grace turns in the alley and says, "Keep walking." Not shouted, not dramatic. Command voice. It works. Carl reaches the side door with the middle group. For 1 second, he looks back toward the craft store. I think he might run. Instead, he hands the child's water backpack to Marisol and says, "Take it." Then he steps back into the corridor. I catch his sleeve. "No," he says. "They'll follow." "Yes." He looks at Lana. "I know the aisles. I can slow them." Lana stares at him. This is the dangerous thing about guilt. Sometimes it looks exactly like courage. I say, "You don't get to fix it by dying stupid." Carl smiles without humor. "First useful thing you ever said to me?" He pulls free and runs back into the craft store before I can stop him. Dennis says, "Carl." No answer. Lana's face hardens. "Go." We go. Behind us, Carl starts yelling from inside the craft store. Not for help. At the raiders. Insults, directions, noise. He throws something glass. It shatters. Gunfire answers. Then infected noise swells from the Home Depot side. Drawn to him, drawn to the raiders, drawn to everything. I do not know what happens to him. I know what his noise buys. The last group clears the side door. Walter, Dennis, Lana, and I enter the alley. Omar waves from the service gate. "Now!" The side door behind us opens again. Not Carl. A raider in a dark jacket steps out with a pistol, sees the line, and raises it. Dennis hits him with the pry bar, not in the head. Across the forearm, the pistol drops and skids under a dumpster. The raider screams and swings at Dennis. Walter, old and furious, shoves a rolling trash bin into both of them. The raider falls back. Dennis grabs Walter's collar and pulls him toward the gate. We do not finish the fight. Finishing fights is a luxury. We leave. The drainage channel takes us away from the plaza under low trees and behind fences. The group stretches too long. That is the next problem. Fast people drift ahead. Slow people fall behind. We stop twice to compress the line. Each stop risks sound catching us, but a broken line loses people. The Home Depot burns behind us around 9:10. Maybe the raiders start it. Maybe a generator, spilled fuel, electrical short, propane mistake, something hit by gunfire. I see orange light rise behind the roofline and smoke push into the rainy sky. The store that looked too big to fail becomes a landmark for everything hungry in town. People stop to look. Lana says, "Keep moving." Her voice almost breaks on moving, but it does not. We follow the drainage channel until it passes under a road through a concrete culvert. Omar checks first. Clear. We go through in groups, stepping in cold, ankle-deep water. On the other side, the subdivision begins. Back fences, dark houses, swing sets, sheds, a dog barking behind one fence, alive and angry, porch lights dead. One house has candles in upstairs windows, another has its front door open, and a car halfway through the garage door. We choose a house at the edge of the subdivision, not because it is perfect, but because it has a fenced yard, no visible movement inside, a second story, and a detached garage we can clear separately. The owner is not home or is gone. That sentence carries weight now. We enter through a back window after knocking, calling, waiting, and hearing nothing. We clear room by room, living room, kitchen, laundry, bathroom, bedroom, office, no one. It feels wrong to be grateful. We bring in the children first. Priya sets medical in the dining room. Omar and Andre secure the garage. Grace assigns restroom rules before anyone uses one. Lana sits on the stairs for 10 seconds, then stands again before rest can claim her. The house cannot hold everyone comfortably. Comfort is not the goal. We use the yard, garage, and neighboring shed after clearing. No lights in windows, blankets over glass, no cooking, no loud talking. Watches at front, back, upstairs, food count after escape, less than planned. Water. Enough for 1 day, maybe 2 if rationed. People 71, lost. Carl, probably. 2 people unaccounted for from the final move, both adults from the grocery group. No one saw them fall. No one saw them leave. That uncertainty becomes its own kind of wound. At 11:30, I sit on the kitchen floor with my back against a cabinet and write this in a spiral notebook taken from the craft store office. The page is damp. My hand leaves gray dust along the edge. I can still smell the Home Depot smoke through the cracked laundry vent, even from here. Lana sits across from me, eyes open, not resting, just paused. She says, "Was it worth holding?" I know what she means. The store, the barricades, the rescues, the rules, the people refused, the people saved, the supplies lost, the danger attracted. I could say yes because we are alive. I could say no because the store burned. Both answers are too easy. I say, "It bought 4 days." She looks toward the dining room where children sleep under coats and moving blankets. 4 days, she repeats. In the old world, 4 days was nothing. A long weekend, shoti, a shipping delay, a small job running over schedule. Now 4 days is water collected, wounds cleaned, children pulled from a bus, strangers turned into a group, a route cut through a wall, and enough hard lessons to keep us from making the first stupid mistake twice. The Home Depot was one of the best places in town on paper. Tools, lumber, generators, chains, carts, propane, roof access, locks, tarps, ladders, everything a person could point at and call survival. But abundance did not save us by itself. Abundance created arguments. It created targets. It made people think there was enough for every fear. It made desperate men drive toward us. It made us believe we could solve human panic with shelves. What saved us for a while was order. Not perfect order, not fair order. Just enough order to keep doors shut, water shared, tools controlled, exits planned, and fear from voting too fast. Tomorrow we move before sunrise if the street is clear enough. Lana wants the church on the hill because it has a brick basement and a kitchen. Omar thinks the school may have buses, diesel, and cafeteria stock if it has not been overrun. Priya wants somewhere with medicine. Grace says all of them are obvious, and obvious places attract obvious trouble. She is probably right. I do not know where we go. I know what I will look for now. Not the biggest building. Not the fullest shelves. Not the place that looks safest from the road. I will look for doors we can control, water we can reach, exits no one can see, and people who understand that every improvement costs noise, time, strength, and attention. I came to that store for plywood and hinges. I left with a group, a notebook, 1 screwdriver, half a roll of duct tape, a bottle of water with my name written on blue tape, and the memory of a burning roof behind us. The world did not end all at once. It came through the entrances people kept opening before thinking through what would follow. And if I survive long enough to tell anyone how we made it out, that is the part I will say first. Do not trust a building just because it has supplies. Trust the people who know when not to open the door.